Marty Mart shoppers? We're back again to go over some movie news with you guys. Basically, I'm super deep in on movie news, and I read it all the time because we review films over on this channel. You should check some of those out, by the way. And because we do film reviews, I'm always trying to stay up to date on what's going on with film fan culture and what's like the big stories out right now. And since I'm so deep, sometimes I like to pull aside some friends and tell them about what's going on in the world of film and television and just get their honest reaction. So with me, I have Zane and Fran. How's it going, Fran?
It's good.
Okay, that's great.
Is it?
And today, we're talking about a new possible live-action Death Note series. This comes to us from Joe Blow. Netflix is shifting gears and moving ahead with a live-action series adaptation of Death Note that will be produced by the Duffer Brothers. If you don't know the Duffer Brothers, they're the creators of Stranger Things. Their show just crashed Netflix, so clearly Netflix is leaning into them a bit. Obviously, the creators of the service's hit series Stranger Things, like I just said, the Duffer Brothers will be producing Death Note through their newly formed company, Upside Down Pictures. They add that the Duffer Brothers Death Note series will be an entirely new take that is not at all connected to the Wingard feature nor the specific story from the anime and manga.
But what was wrong with the first one? The first live action?
Yeah, like how can they top that? That's fucked up.
Yeah, it was pure cinema.
Why mess with perfection? Come on.
Guys, let me just speak before we start just jumping down the throat of the original Death Note film, okay? Let's give it a moment. Let's let it breathe a little bit. First, I just want to talk about the cultural zeitgeist moment that is Stranger Things. Obviously, it's a great choice for Netflix to give them more producing power, have them work on more shows, because there has not been a show more dynamite in the world of streaming this year than Stranger Things. It is ruling everything pop culture, and it personally ruined Doja Cat's life, but that's besides the point. So and maybe we'll get into that through this conversation, I don't know, but I am excited for the idea of, like, if you're familiar with the Death Note series, it's about a young man who's a bit of a fucking psycho, in my opinion, who comes across this magical notebook where if you write someone's name in it, they die, and it's through the power of a Shinigami, otherwise known as a death god. And there was a live action series, and as you can tell from our couch, it might have been a bit of a mixed response from it. Mixed being bad and worse.
Yeah.
So guys, you hear this news. First off, are you psyched that the Duffer Brothers are just making more content? As well as I've heard a Stranger Things spinoff, so very excited for that. Also, are you excited to see more anime live action adaptations, or are you just like, I'd rather have a staple in the dick? I don't know.
So I know that you're Death Note obsessed, right?
Yeah, I definitely, like, that was one of the animes that, like, got me into anime.
I know, it's one of the first ones I showed you. One of the ones that could break through. I think a lot of it's very much an adult, like, thriller anime. It's not really meant for kids. There is no, like, you know, very memey moments, I guess you could say.
I like the idea of them doing the whole, like, it not being based on, like, light story or whatever, or trying to retell
according to this report. We could find out different things, but we know for a fact, for sure, it's not connected.
But the whole Death
Note, the original,
the whole Death Note, like, premise just seems like it's such a anthology. Like, it leans itself so well to anthology, because they talk about how it's like, oh, every time Shinigami get bored, sometimes we drop our Death Note, let it create a little bit of chaos in the world. And it's like, that's something that I'd love to. I would.
Yeah,
love
what I'm looking for,
there hasn't been something like this.
Maybe there has been in book wise. I don't know exactly all the literature that follows Death Note as a franchise, but I know that obviously all the live action films that have been made up to this point have been based on the first book, the first books, and of course the manga and in the anime. And so it's interesting to see them go a different route with it. And I'm excited to see maybe like a Black Mirror-esque Death Note. Like, let's just get some more throwaway anthology-esque stories. I think that could be a really cool creation. Not to mention the different ways that you can create Death God, the different looking ones you could make, the different reasons that they might be dropping their Death Note, you know?
Yeah.
Not to mention, what if we have, like just making basically a pitch here, but what if the way that the Death Note's acquired is not through traditional means? Like, what if a Shinigami loses a gambling match with a human being and loses his Death Note? I mean, there's totally different, ridiculous ways they could take it. The best thing that they can do now, having the first film be such a failure critically, is go somewhere different, in my opinion. And then with the Duffer Brothers at the helm, that gets me super excited.
Well, the Duffer Brothers have almost single-handedly saved Netflix because Netflix started announcing a bunch of random shit and they started to just bleed subscribers.
Well, yeah,
and then they dropped a couple things.
It was tough because like it's not a buildable service, right? So Netflix, they have monthly subscribers, yeah, but how do you build on that? Like at what point do everybody who has Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Like so then they start talking about bringing up tiers, bringing in ad tiers, and just the stock plummeted after that when people were talking about changing the service around. Even though I think an ad-supported tier at a cheaper price for like $6.99 is very viable for people and might get more people Netflix. To the public eye, seeing big changes like that scares stockholders as well as film enthusiasts. So them having such a huge success with Stranger Things and it being so much bigger in comparison to the other streaming shows, Obi-Wan, the whole series of Obi-Wan is as long as the last 2 episodes of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So you're getting way more content and still having that bingeability by having multiple episodes come out at once. So you're right. The Duffer Brothers really kind of resurrected
and that's
Netflix in a way.
That's also something that I'm hoping they do lend themselves to reviving that live action anime like format because we've got a couple of Netflix things that have like they've announced are coming down the pipipeline, like
the One Piece stuff,
like the Avatar show, like the One Piece show. Like
oh really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
The Avatar show has finished production.
Yeah, which
the show's done. Well, they're on post, but like the actual like filming and all that stuff, it's done. The Avatar show is finished.
I think if they do the Death Note thing well, it could be really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's like you make a horror anthology based around the ideas of Death Note, like that could be so radically like interesting to watch. And I'm hoping that,
and then it's not forced into the sphere of YA, right? Because when you make the Death Note live action movie, or really if they were going to try to tackle the original story at all, the basis of it is a student who's kind of very mentally smart but lacks any sort of wisdom or, let's be clear, any sort of social morality whatsoever. But mainly it leans towards a YA audience as far as American audiences go. They don't like to see younger characters in serious dramas so much. Even people who love Stranger Things have that argument about it, that it's for like teenagers and stuff. I don't agree with that, but that is an argument.
Yeah.
By taking a total different route, that does possibly make it so they can turn it into whatever they want. And that's what I'm looking for. Like I'm looking for even like genre bending. It's just such an open concept. They could do whatever they wanted with it.
So that's why I was kind of are you scared of this? Are you excited as like the one
I'm excited for it. I'm pretty open to like content being made and reinventing old properties. I usually want that stuff to be good. I mean, yeah, it's disappointing when it's not, but I think the Duffer Brothers have really proved themselves with Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that you're going to get more things for the thing, like even if like personally for the One Piece thing being made, like even if I absolutely hate it, if one person watches it and they fall in love with it and that's just their jam, that's their entry point into that thing that I love, I wish them all the best. Like I want these things to succeed.
Yeah.
Whether or not I find enjoyment out of them, but it is something that I do hope that it can breathe new life into this genre that has been so hated, where everybody always does the like manga, anime, Netflix live action like meme. Like I hope that we can move past that trend and see big leaps and bounds in this. And I think that the Duffer Brothers are probably one of the big ones to step in and make some moves as far as
And also,
that goes.
Upside Down Pictures is such a good fucking name
Yeah.
for a production company. I think that is so good. Or Upside Down Productions. That's a great name for it. Ingenious, you know. So yeah, I feel like our thoughts are kind of out on that. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what this will become. It's so early in development. Yeah. There's really no way to understand what's going to happen with it. But my hopes are for the best, and in general for them to be making more content for Netflix. You know, when they made that first Stranger Things show, there was only one network willing to buy it, and they won't reveal who that network is. But their rule was you can't be a part of directing it. And imagine if Stranger Things wasn't directed by the Duffer Brothers, it wouldn't have been anything it was. So I think it's so important that now they're at the forefront of their content. So we'll just see. It's like the most expensive YouTube channel ever. I love it. Anyway, guys, let us know in the comments what you think about this story with the new live-action Death Note series. Are you excited for it? Are you bummed out by it? Are you just like, oh my god, I'm so sick of adaptations? Or are you somebody who's like, no, an adaptation is viable. I want these franchises to exist forever. There needs to be good and bad iterations of it going forward. Let us know down in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe, baby. Bada bing. Hey, Held Captive Media fans, we are back with another story here. If you guys don't know, on this channel, I basically, we all review films and stuff like that, but I'm very deep into film news, and I like to relay things that I'm hearing to my friends and just get their genuine reactions. So, Franny, this story, you have a quote from us, or a quote for us? Quote from us.
This story is from Screen Rant. Minions movie shatters 4th of July box office, biggest 4th of July weekend ever. Minions: The Rise of Gru has smashed July 4th weekend box office records. The film will surpass the previous record holder, Transformers: Dark of the Moon?
Yeah, Dark
of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon, which earned $115.9 million.
Okay, so let me just break down some elements of this before I go asking you guys some questions. If you guys don't know, this is Minions: The Rise of Gru is the first successful, as they call it, meme picture, to the point where movie theaters are starting to get really pissed off and you can't wear a suit and tie in them anymore. And let me explain why. The weekend that Minions came out, there was an ongoing meme that people should show up in professional business suits, greet each other as the Minion characters, you know, Bob and Stewart and whatnot. Shake hands before the movie, go in, enjoy the film, scream, and throw bananas at the screen. And this ridiculousness has grown to the hype of the film actually crushing the 4th of July box office record of all time. Now, this is what Sony was trying to do with Morbius, but at the end of the day, we cannot deny the success of this meme picture. And my question comes to you guys. 1, do you give a fuck about the Minions movie? 2, are you going to see it now as a result of its meme success? And 3, how do you feel about memes, in a sense, smashing the box office? Because remember, what we pay to go see, they continue to pay to make. They're going to respond to the wallets, not critical review. So if people keep seeing these, I'm not going to, listen, I don't like the Minions movies. I'm sorry. Come at me in the comments. They're cute and everything, but like smashing the 4th of July box office weekend record's insane. So the question comes in, will this affect what movies are made in the future? Is this possibly making movies worse? Franny, let me start with you. Just because it looks like Zane's going to actually fucking explode.
It looks like he's got opinions, but I do too. So
he looks like he's got a banana shoved in the wrong place. He's really upset about this.
I like the Minion movies. I saw one at the drive-in because it was like just before a movie that I was seeing with a friend, and like fell in love with it. I thought it was fucking great. I'm excited for this movie.
By the way, guys, that was the one time I didn't go to the drive-in, and I have a feeling it had something to do with the movie they were saying.
Probably. But no, it was super fun. I think it's fucking hilarious. I love the Gru character. I enjoy it. I like when the internet affects what people go to, and I think it's cool that like this generation is getting like the Room type of experience that everybody's like getting into and making a meme out of.
How do you feel about them threatening bag checks to people wearing suits, threatening to kick people out for being overexcited and screaming during the movie?
That's just stupid. Let people have fun.
But okay, let's back it up. It's a kid's movie, right? And then you bring your kid to go see Minions: The Rise of Gru, and then in the middle of it, a 40-year-old man starts screaming and so excitedly he's throwing bananas at the screen.
Take your kid to see Minions: Rise of Gru at like 1 1 p.m.
These men, I'm sure, are here all
When,
day.
like,
They
nobody else is
smashed
gonna be
the
there.
box office. There was a live stream of a guy on Twitch who watched it all day. He sat in a suit at the movie theater in Los Angeles all day and watched them all day long.
Do we have to live our lives around kids? No.
We have to respect all audience
It's
goers,
fine.
including kids. Zane, what are your thoughts on this? Just insanity.
So we live in the future, and it's fucking weird. It's so people are dressing up in suits and throwing bananas at the screen.
Yeah, and what they'll do is
No, I didn't know that. Why the fuck would I know that?
it's kind of been a big thing.
It's
What happens is there's a general understanding. Come to the movie 10 minutes before it starts. Stand outside of the auditorium and sit around and shake hands with everybody else there who's in suits and ties because it's a professional outing. And then you go inside and act like fucking animals. That's pretty much what they've been doing.
I like the people
I
that are also going in suits and being respectful.
I love
And
the
they
fact
do exist, and we love you out. We love you, respectful kings,
Let
and
the-
have fun. But I'm talking more to the people disrupting films for children.
So let the record show. I love that you love these movies. I thought that's my fucking heart goes out to you. I love that for you. I don't want to take that any enjoyment that a movie brings to you that fucking lights up my goddamn world.
In the first
But the
Minions movie,
fucking-
do they
like,
even talk? How do they talk? They don't talk.
Exactly.
They make. I think they.
Can you hit
No, be nice.
the bra button, please?
Producer Lacey
No.
has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Producer
like
Lacey, everybody, what's up?
Franny, do you like the Despicable Me movies or the Minion movies? Because I take those as separate entities. I love Despicable Me, but
Come on,
Minions-
you love Despicable Me 3 with his evil twin brother, really? That
I
was
don't know if I watched
haven't-
that.
that
one.
was a
I
jam.
like
The first one was
The
really
first
cute.
two
The
were
first one
really
was
good.
over 10 years ago and was super
liked it.
adorable. I saw it back when I lived in
But
Laporte.
don't the minions? I thought the minions speak in it's like backwards Korean or something.
I'm pretty
like
sure
that.
they say
I think that it's backwards Korean, and then you can while the movie is playing, there's apps that you can hold to the screen, and then it'll translate what the minions are saying. Although now I think they just give them subtitles for it. But that was a thing when it first came out. I thought it was they wanted them to sound weird and.
Are you talking
I
about
have no
Despicable Me
clue.
1 with the Shazam thing?
I think
There
that
was- there was
it's
a marketing thing with
backwards,
Shazam.
a different. I can't remember what it was. It's it's either just a different language or it's a different language sped up and reversed or something like that.
Guys, Zane could be right, but he could also be stupid. So take none of
I
that
can
to the bank.
totally be wrong, but
He'll be
this
confidently
is,
wrong.
This is
Yeah.
what my brain is telling me happened.
Franny,
and I
could you
don't
hit the blue
remember
button,
it,
please?
But I love the fact that these movies brought any joy to you. That's great. I don't want to take
No,
that
no.
away.
And the thing is I want
But-
people. I love.
just in general.
Hold on.
I love people loving things.
No, but these are great. To answer Lacey's question, I love the Despicable Me movies, but I really love the Minion movies too. That's what happened. I didn't think I'd like it, and we went to the drive-in, and it was playing the first Minion movie, and it was great. It was fucking great. It was so fun.
It was fucking great. I love that.
I've
It was
not
so
watched
fun. I
any
had a
of them.
minivan at the time.
I've
We were
watched-
How do
playing
you know the
different
first one's
minivan.
cute if you haven't seen a single one?
No, I said I've watched
It was a
I've
good
watched
time.
Despicable Me.
Oh, but you haven't
and
seen any
Despicable Me.
Minion movies.
I've not seen any of the Minion movies.
I see,
So
I
I
see.
love the fact that people are finding joy out of this, but
Franny-
the fact that everybody got together dressed in suits and are throwing bananas at the
Franny-
screen
I
would
and that's
go in
like
a suit.
thing.
Quick sidebar,
it's
guys.
so fucking weird.
Quick sidebar. This is so important. Franny, is it true or not true that you once had a friend in high school that had a Minions Tic Tac in her car and her mom thought it was acid and grilled it for an
Yeah.
hour and a half?
Yeah, her mom thought it was some drugs, and it was just melty Minions Tic Tac.
It's and
Like
the
they got a
Minions
little
Tic Tacs.
melty.
It's because the Minions Tic Tacs as well as the Minions look very nefarious.
Yeah.
I just don't trust the look of those Minions with their little overalls. I just feel like they have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory Oompa Loompa vibes, slightly evil seeming. But then again, I haven't seen enough of the films.
Oh my
I've definitely
God.
never seen the solo Minions movie.
Yeah,
I think
no.
I've seen Despicable Me 1, and then
I
when I
just
worked at a
love them.
video store, I saw 3.
They're cute.
That's the first
I also
one
love
was
that the old
super
people love
endearing.
them so
but
much.
yeah.
I love that old people love Minions so much.
That is like a
and that
thing.
it's
I
like a
think-
meme.
Oh yeah,
Producer
they always
Lacey's
have
mammal,
Facebook memes,
loves
and it's
it.
man, people say I'm not that great, but I think I'm great, and it's a picture of Bob or Stewart smiling in his little overalls, or
I don't know which one is which.
I don't
don't
give a
know
fuck.
either,
But there's so many memes out there where it's and an aw shucks boomer quote and then a minion right next to it. There's so many memes like that. So yeah, I mean, it you cannot deny it. It's in the cultural zeitgeist.
It's a huge thing, but yeah, I've not heard a fucking thing about this story and the fact that people are going to movie theaters in suits throwing bananas at the screen. I don't know how that flew under my radar, but it just did not. I've not heard anything about this, and so I'm just over here like, what does that even mean?
And we're coming up on by the time you guys are seeing this, we're coming up on another weekend, which I believe is 2 weekends removed. I'm excited to see, now that the meme's kind of dying down a little bit, where this really is going to fall financially, because that will really determine, in my opinion, how they tackle these Minion features going forward. Like, if it starts to falter out, I guarantee you they'll still make another Minions movie,
Minion features,
but it'll be Minions the meme, the movie.
The Minion features are just like, they're already. Jesus, they're
fucking fuck these Minions, man.
Fuck them up,
and they're bananas.
But no, they're already so successful. I've got a contracting job. I'm constantly like, anytime I'm at somebody's house and they've got young kids, it's Minion
talking
shit
about all the little
over
boys'
the place.
rooms you've seen, Zane.
Dude, that sounded really fucking creepy, and I hate that. No, just anytime I'm
Franny, why are you trying to cancel Zane?
Yeah,
over
like
nothing?
what the fuck? No, anytime like there's like young kids, it's all Minions shit.
That's what he's talking about, correct?
I'm talking
Sorry, I
about
thought it was
going into
funny.
somebody's house and if they've got kids.
Guys, this was supposed to be a fun story about the
what the
Minions,
fuck?
and now we're slinging accusations.
No,
I just thought it was funny. God.
God
I wasn't slinging
damn.
accusations.
Man.
Calm down.
No, you gotta hit the blue button too.
Yeah. Not cool, homie.
Anyway,
Fuck it. But no, like,
Yeah, go ahead.
Minions are just a fucking
Yeah.
thing. When we've gone to like Universal or whatever, like they've got that whole fucking Minions building that is just constantly showing the Minions like different shows or like special features for Universal. Like, it's such a thing that like no matter what, like this movie was going to do well, and they're going to keep making Minions movies until it's dead. I don't know if they're going to. I think that they're probably going to cringily meme on it a little bit harder, and that'll be weird to see how that.
there comes where I was thinking. I think if they lean too much into the meme, it's gonna be the Morbius effect. So I think that them ignoring the meme, in a sense, is the right move. We'll see what they do. But my other question kind of was, like, the people who are going to see this as a meme, how many of them genuinely like the Minions? It's a good question. Because I feel like there cannot be that many adults. But every day, it seems like I'm hearing more arguments for these Minion movies from
like,
full-grown
See
adults.
them.
Franny
It's-
is
they're
just over
good.
here. She's
Yeah,
like, I love hanging out around little kids and
Listen,
watching the things that they like.
Guys, I will cancel you
I
both.
just want to. I just want to. I just want to
and
relate
Mr.
to
Lacey
that.
will do this show by ourselves. I swear to
Not
God.
incorrect.
What up?
Fuck.
Lacey,
do this.
your thought on the Minion mania in general. I just want a quick overview
I mean,
thought.
they're cute for children, but like, guys, come on, like, be respectful of
Exactly.
movie theaters. Let kids be able to go and enjoy these movies, and
Like,
just
you
be
can still go enjoy
you
it,
can still
too.
meme on it if you want, but like, be respectful.
Also, don't make the poor like movie theater people have to clean up your fucking bananas.
Yeah,
like,
or
Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
mad
that's fucked up.
disrespect.
100%. Well, guys, I feel like we just boonanaed the shit out of this,
fuck
and
yeah, slipped on appeal.
I guess we leave the question to all of you. What do you guys think about the Minion series? Do you think that me and Zane are too harsh? Do you think that Franny's a queen for her opinions? Do you have the inverse opinion in general? Did you go see this in a suit and tie yourself? What was your experience like seeing this meme picture? And would you recommend that we continue with this tradition of showing up in suits for the Despicable Me movies? I don't care if you want to throw bananas. I disagree. Unless it's like a venue where they know that's going to happen, which could be very fun. Illumination. Maybe you should set that up. Anyway, guys, leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe. Keep up to us. We'll have dumbass conversations like this all the time. Peace out. Hey guys, welcome back to Held Captive Media, where we talk about movie shit. Mainly because we review movies on this channel. I'm so deep into like the stories that I like to share them with my friends. And Zane has a quote for us about a kind of particularly interesting story. Zane, if you could.
So we've got a quote from the Ronin here. The Russo brothers were asked about returning to Disney and also potentially tackling their highly anticipated X-Men reboot. Joe Russo, of course, reminds us he is a copy of the Hulk comic where Wolverine made his first appearance and suggested once Kevin Feige was ready to pursue an X-Men film, they'd be game to be involved in shaping a new take on the mutant team.
Okay, so why did you throw your phone?
Because I don't have a case on it. Let's
Okay,
go.
whatever. Anyway, that was ridiculous. Guys, let's get back to the actual story we were talking about. So,
I just love producer Lacey's face.
Yeah.
So, guys, when Fox was purchased by Disney, there were plenty of questions. What's going to happen to, studios? What's going to happen to this? What's going to happen to that? Fox Searchlight, blah, blah, blah. But the main question in everybody's mind, even with the John Krasinski rumors at the time for Fantastic Four and everything, yes, people were excited to talk about, like, ooh, what's Kevin Feige going to do with Fantastic Four? The real question in everybody's mind, the real thing that everybody was thinking about was, what are they going to do with X-Men? What is going to happen with one of the most successful comic book franchises of all time being introduced into the MCU? And I think there's a couple of reasons why this story is pretty interesting. These people have worked with Kevin Feige before, and they know how much he likes to keep things under wraps and generally doesn't want a spotlight drawn on things that aren't going to happen because it builds incorrect anticipation and it possibly leads to upset audiences. So for them to drop this information, for one, makes me feel kind of sketched out. Like maybe they're already talking about doing it, or maybe they're just trying to get a job. Directors want jobs equals, of course. That always happens. But the question continues: who's going to direct these movies? Who is going to be cast to play some of the most iconic roles, like Wolverine or Storm? I mean, what is going to be the MCU's take on the X-Men franchise? And really, what do you guys want it to be? So the question is to you guys: what do you think is going to happen, and what do you want to happen? Zane, let's start with you.
So this has been kind of one of the things that the MCU has been dancing around for so long is how are they going to, because for the longest time, they weren't allowed to say the M word. They weren't allowed to say mutant.
Yeah.
It was like taboo. So they were like coming up with any kind of way to
changing origin stories, changing this,
doing different things where technically they had some of these mutant characters like Scarlet Witch and
but now
Quicksilver because they were shared.
Now with the introduction of spoilers, Professor X in Doctor Strange, and also Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange, you're starting to see these Fox characters kind of, and the Deadpool announcement, of course, and Deadpool 3 officially being on the books.
Yeah.
We're starting to see more of it blend through. So,
and it's kind of seeing how are they going to, because they've tiptoed around it for so long. They've built all these worlds, a lot of the TV shows where they've kind of like brought them in, but not actually fully incorporated them. It's been one of those things where it's like, how are we going to get around doing this? And so to see them finally say basically like, hey, it's official. We're now bringing in what makes up almost half of all the things that happen in the Marvel comics, because the mutants are just throughout the whole comics. Like it is something that is integral to the world that Marvel has built. And now to finally see like we've got 20 years of these movies, or what is it, 15, 20 years?
Of the MCU movies or the X-Men films?
The MCU movies. It's 15, right?
Okay, so if Iron Man came out in 2008, that would be 10, and then you add like
I think just under 15 years.
Under 15 years,
yeah,
about
just under 15 years. So yeah, it's been like this
That's
whole
crazy.
And to have like a whole universe that like one of the big plot
that's
points
about
of that
to come out with
universe-
its 30th film.
Yeah, one of the big plot points of that universe is like these people who just like happen to have special powers, like to just pull that away from it or to retcon certain things and do that to finally be ready to just like, okay, we're going to tackle this thing. I feel like the entirety of nerd culture is just holding their breath. Like, how's this going to play out? What's going to happen? So if the Russo brothers do get it, all eyes are about to be on them because
everybody's waiting to see how do you like, can you really say that mutants are a new thing? Do you make it something that they've hidden from in the past? Do you make it something that like an active enemy depleted them with? Is it a matter of them coming in from the multiverse? But the question remains, you can't just say, well, mutants have been here the whole time with no explanation. Yeah. There has to be something. And then the question is, what's going to be viable enough for us to buy? And how are we going to accept, on top of that, new iterations of these characters that have been played for like 20 years or 15 years? Like, I mean, Hugh Jackman has been the Wolverine since 2000. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're going on 22 years of one person playing the same character, so never ever played by anybody else.
I don't know. Like it's so crazy because it feels like it's so obvious that like a lot of these characters that we already have in the Marvel universe are mutants. It's gonna be weird to like see where they fit it in. If they like, I like Logan. You were talking about how like maybe it's a comic or something that has it something to do with like Scarlet Witch changing.
House of M.
House of M. But the thing
that
is,
sounds like a cool explanation, especially with the movie that just came out.
That's what it should have been. But now with Scarlet Witch's character, spoilers for Doctor Strange, guys. If you haven't seen Doctor Strange, what are you doing? It's on Disney Plus. Yeah. So, with spoilers for that, no, I'm about to spoil it even more. Yeah. At the end of the movie.
Yeah,
she's apparently gone.
Dies.
So
but I don't
now
think
could it
she's
be
gone.
a multiversal Wanda? Maybe.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But
like,
then
she's not gone.
I think it could be something as crazy as Patrick Stewart went a little rogue, or whoever Professor X will end up being. I mean, he was just that in the other universe. I don't know if they're going to use him again for this. I doubt they would. But whoever Professor X is going to be, he's more jaded, and he's somehow used like Cerebro to wipe the memory of mutants from everybody's minds. That's another theory that I think could like be really cool, because then at some point, let's say there's another like universal threat, right? And then all of a sudden, like the few mutants that are left around, maybe after some sort of large extermination that happened, the ones that are left around, the ones that Patrick Stewart or Professor X had possibly saved, they have to come into the fold now. I could buy that. But it's just like, who all is going to buy this? Like, how can you make this work? It's really the biggest question. And would you be excited about the Russo brothers doing it? I mean, I loved Infinity War and Endgame, but do you guys maybe want a different spin on it? Is it just like been there, done that? How do you guys feel about it?
You go.
So I think this is probably the one like nerd property that I've been so scared of for the longest time.
Definitely.
Is just because it's like, what's the way to move forward with it? Because if I know that one of the ways that I've seen, like there was a guy on TikTok, he was talking about like, oh, well, like, wouldn't it be cool because they're supposed to be second-class citizens if it was like, oh, they were here, but they were being so suppressed.
That theory.
But it is one of those things that it doesn't really play off.
Why would somebody like
because
Peter Parker ignore the existence of mutants, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I understand
some of those people
maybe
that are just like really like truly like, yeah, you've got your larger than life superheroes, but some of your street level people, like they've gotta like recognize, and like that's something that like when Peter's powers first came up, like people would have been like, is he a mutant?
Or
like,
who's to say that there's the other theory that I was kicking around, and maybe other people have thought this on the internet, you can tell me otherwise. So Spider-Man No Way Home makes this big notion of the fact that Doctor Strange is very loose and easy with magic, right? Who's to say that we just don't know that at some point in time a Doctor Strange-esque character, maybe Tilda Swinton's character, was approached by a Professor X type and being like, listen, wipe our memory from everywhere. We're being hunted like animals. Like, there's so many different ways they could explain them still being there.
And there are times in the comics where Professor X, like, hides the mutants. That's, like, a whole thing.
I mean, Logan is a perfect example. They were literally hiding from people in that movie, you know?
Well, and he also, like, he goes out into the world. He finds mutant children. He brings them to the school to train their powers so that they can integrate themselves into normal society. That's been kind of the mission, is to help, but it's... how does that look like from the shadows? It's always been he's trying to help while trying to also fight for equality. And it's a great story arc that's done so well through the comics that it's kind of like, okay, now how do we see that story play out when they're in hiding, when people don't know about them? So it's like, do they still get that hate? Do they end up getting loved because of like the superhero love? Obviously, one of the big things that, like, in Marvel Comics, the Civil War arc where, like, you have to register if you have powers or anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things that so desperately hurt the X-Men in the Marvel Comics was that, and that's something that's already in there. So that would be something that they could pretty easily play off of as like, hey, we were just trying to protect these children. They don't know how to control their powers. So if it was something where Professor X was going through and actively suppressing that could
It'd
be
make a lot of sense. Yeah. No, there's so
believable,
many
still
reasons why it makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Like, for instance, if there was like, you know, let's say there was a different stronghold of a character that was kind of protecting their image, and then post blip, that character had disappeared, and then as a result, there had to be other things that came into play. I mean, there's so many ways that they could enrich the re-involvement of the X-Men, you know, like, and make it so that at one point they were there. But I'm also totally open to the idea of a multiversal class, you know? There's such a bad villain amongst us in
They've also been setting up
wait,
an
hold on.
incursion
What's the
event
guy's
to
name?
happen,
Yeah, the
so,
incursion, right?
yeah.
Like, but what's the name of the guy? Loki. Oh my god, I know his name. Kang. I would love Kang to have some way of a multiversal like destruction to where there's one universe where all converging life is teaming up together to live, and then that becomes the singular universe, because it would clean up them overusing the multiverse. And it could easily explain why the X-Men are there. I mean,
that's what happens in, as far as the comics, that's what happens in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Doctor
And
Doom
Secret
does
Wars
that,
is
and-
coming to Disney Plus,
Yeah.
so we'll see if that plays with the mutant stuff at all. Anyway, guys, I think we're dragging on a little bit.
Well,
So that's
I
to say, don't make me hit the
I do want to question you as a casual watcher, as not a super nerd or anything. What would you feel the least strange about if you went to go see an X-Men movie or whatever, and they gave an explanation? What
Yeah.
would feel the most natural to you?
Well, I think
feel-
she,
Like, I
she
think-
liked that Wanda kind of
Yeah, and I
explanation.
also think like anything with like mass, like magic, kind of like fucking with people's minds, especially since we just saw Doctor Strange
with
do
Spider-Man,
something.
yeah.
Like that was Spider-Man. I
And
feel
it's
like,
like,
they could,
was that like the active like
Right.
showing of us to
Yeah.
prepare us for that idea?
Yeah, I think that they could really do something with that right now, and the audience like definitely buy it, and it make a lot of
that would
sense.
further prove the incursion, right? Because using magic like that causes universal upsets. Maybe that was another thing that kind of fucked with the multiverse, created the TVA, whatever it may be. Because as things are right now, there's a lot of plot points that don't actually line up, and there's things that are kind of messy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that something will come together. And Kevin Feige has hinted that you know, the conclusion coming soon, like the things coming with Black Panther and everything, will help converge things a little bit better with the 30th film in the MCU. But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, we've talked so much about Marvel stuff. In the comments, let us know about your predictions and also who you want to see play certain characters. I'm a big fan of Giancarlo Esposito playing Magneto. There's obviously the rumors that Taron Egerton will play Wolverine. He's really down with Daniel Radcliffe. He hopes it's that. But anyway, guys, as long as it's a good performer, we'll be happy. So let us know down in the comments what you think. And be sure to like and subscribe, baby, for more of that Marvel rambling. Let's do it. Hey, Smarty Mod shoppers, welcome back. And if you guys don't know this about me or this channel, I'm a huge fan of the big three horror icons, obviously Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. And my favorite of those franchises is actually Halloween. And today, I got a nice little Halloween Ends update for you guys. Or at least, I shouldn't say update, more of like a teaser. So this actually comes to us from Sci-Fi Wire, Sci-Fi Channel's actual printed publication. They started it a couple of years ago. It's actually really great. I like it.
Had one.
So it says, John Carpenter teases that Halloween Ends will be a departure from the first two films in this new trilogy. The celebrated filmmaker returns as composer alongside his son, Cody Carpenter, and godson, Daniel Daves. The article continues on to say, and quote Carpenter, saying, "Well, it's Halloween, and it ends," he answered with a little chuckle. "You'll see it as a departure from the others. It's interesting. Dave is a really great director. I love working with him." Carpenter didn't elaborate beyond that. So basically what we get from this is, now Halloween Kills was already kind of a departure, and not the kind that I personally was a big fan of, but, you know, it had a couple of moments, sure. And overall, I really enjoyed the 2018 film. And I have thoughts on this, being that Halloween is not only my favorite horror franchise, but possibly one of my favorite franchises just of all time. I'm curious to see what he means by it's different. I have a feeling that there's a possibility, just, you know, total conjecture here, that maybe Michael Myers will die. Maybe Laurie Strode, I had it right the first time. Laurie Strode might, her family might be the ones to finally take him down, and that's like the significance of the trilogy. Because in this one, they've moved away from them being related in any way. So it's already been such a big departure for him to go out and quote saying this will be the biggest departure from the franchise. It gets me excited. It also gets me a little worried because we all saw Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and it was a big departure from the franchise. So there was a fucking spectral white horse walking around with his dead mother in that movie.
You didn't like that movie? Come on.
I do. I do for its own reasons. I'm just
like it for its own
saying,
reasons,
if
too.
it's a bigger departure than that, what is he going to fucking space? Is this Michael X? I don't know. What do you guys think hearing this news? Also, John Carpenter, you're the GOAT. I love you, baby.
I love the Halloween movies. I liked the Rob Zombie first one, so
I like both Rob Zombie ones for different reasons.
But it gets me excited to like see another one in this like new set of movies.
And it's
that
the
they've been doing.
completion for this trilogy.
And I've liked this trilogy thus far. Like I like the last two that came out a lot.
You liked Halloween Kills a lot? I was really mixed on that one.
I thought it was good.
I just emphatically didn't like that one.
Really?
So let the record show, I grew up on Jason. Like that was my come up. I've watched Halloween. I absolutely adore Halloween.
Yeah, generic Michael.
Yeah.
Even the best of fans will admit that.
Yeah, like it
came out after, directly inspired, but it did its own thing. And that's what made it great on its own terms.
But like as far as like this is the last one that dropped, Halloween Kills, it just sitting through that was rough because there was so many weird leaps and like the first one they do such a great job, like the original Halloween.
Oh, you're talking about 1978?
Yeah, they go through and they do such a great job of like just making Michael
one of the most financially successful indie pictures of all time.
Making Michael just a force to be reckoned with, but at the same time making him he feels vulnerable but still unstoppable, and that's what makes him scary. In Halloween Kills, like literally they run a train on him, and it's like a metaphorical train, but it's...
I was about to be like, did I see the same movie as you, bro?
Right.
But, like,
I would fucking like Halloween Kills way better. Are you kidding me?
But no, they like go through, they all fucking run up on him on the street and everything, and it's like this whole crazy beatdown scene and everything, but you know that it's a part of a trilogy.
Spoilers for Halloween Kills.
Yeah, if you're watching this, why haven't you fucking seen that? But it's just one of those things where it got so goofy at some point.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Well,
it's not my
and then
favorite
there was
by
also
any
just
means.
points that was just not good. Like the fact when they chase that dude out of the...
Pause.
This is not Halloween Kills.
No, I know, but also you're getting to a point that I've always made about the movie, and I just wanted to clearly say this. The biggest problem with this movie is, amongst all of its other issues, is that it tried to have a take on mental health that was not good at all. I mean, like, beyond bad.
And also just that didn't make any sense. Because also they went through, and it's like, they had shown what Michael looks like, and they were trying nothing like that dude.
So it was because they were trying to set in this mob mentality.
Yeah, and but it just didn't.
Because the argument with Halloween has always been, man, if there was a serial killer walking around, I mean, this is a real critique, and they were trying to address this. A lot of the critique with Halloween is that people always argue, if there was really a guy walking around with a knife, I feel like people would gather up and go beat the fuck out of him. You like that, and maybe there is some truth to that, and that maybe that's why they were trying to build up this mob mentality aspect of it, especially considering the end of the film. But that was the weakest part of the movie. The best part about that movie was like the flashback stuff with Donald Pleasance, and like that was great. I thought that they did a good job. The CG didn't look bad. It was very believable. But this is not a Halloween Kills review, guys. It's talking about Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
How do you hope it ends?
I would like to see them be able to give it a full proper ending. Michael drops and hard stop. Like let Michael die proper. And then if you do want to go ahead and have like Rob Zombie takes on it or other people's takes on that character, absolutely feel free.
The biggest problem with this series,
I'm not opposed to a remake, but just like let the whole thing properly end.
This specific trilogy suffers from the worst thing possible. And it's the fact that they've given the begin and end date. So the suspense for me in a lot of ways is gone. Because I know by the end of this feature, it's going to end. I mean, Halloween Ends is literally the fucking title. So, and I know there's a bit of a time jump too, which is a fun little aspect. I'm excited to see how that goes because the first two took place in like the same night. So we'll see how that is. But I just think that telling us that it will definitely end here gives us a vibe that there will be big deaths and likely Michael will die. And because of that, like, am I going to give as much of a fuck? Maybe not, but maybe as a super huge Halloween fan, I'm gonna enjoy it anyway.
I mean, but every time they say Michael's gonna die, he doesn't die. So.
I know, but this trilogy is going to end. Like,
I almost wish they hadn't announced that it was going to be a trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah,
like during the second one, during that mob scene when they all swarm him on that street, that felt like tension. But then in the back of my head, I was like, wait, but this is a part of... It's the same thing that happened with like Avengers Infinity War to Endgame. When everybody started to disappear, I'm like, yeah, but they're coming back. Like, I'm not fucking worried about it.
Not Heimdall, bitch. He's gone. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about MCU.
But no, it's one of those things where it's like, you can't build stakes and then be like, here's the second half. Like, you know that it's not... Like, this story's not done.
That's literally the exact same point I was trying to make. Yeah. So we're vibing here.
Yeah,
Franny,
absolutely. How
do you feel about that?
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't have announced that it was a trilogy. I feel like that kills a lot of the suspension. But I'm more excited to like see what comes next.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's kind of a bummer that they already told us
they already announced
it.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that John Carpenter coming out and saying something like this will be very different. Is kind of giving me a hope that maybe I won't anticipate what's going to happen.
But
and if that happens, then I'm very excited.
I like the idea of them actually killing Michael for once, and I like the idea of there being like a time jump. Like, it makes me think like this movie's gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean,
be very finite.
I hope so.
But
yeah,
it's not like it's gonna be the death of the character.
No, I mean they've already said that the character, of course, is gonna eventually come back. But guys, let us know down in the comments below what you think of all this news with John Carpenter. Or does that get you hyped that he has these things to say about it? Are you excited for him to come back for the music? Because the one thing that really hasn't been faltering for me is the Halloween themes. And it's bringing back John Carpenter, bringing in his godson and his son to both work on it. And like that aspect of it creatively, doing new music in the films, which has always been kind of taboo, it still feels in the same universe because it's still the same composer working on it. So it almost feels like we're coming out with part 2 of the Halloween theme, part 3, and it's really exciting, and I can't wait to see where the theme goes next. I think it's going to be more tense, more dramatic, but we'll have to see. Like I said, guys, let us know in the comments down below, and we love you. Talk to you later.